back up. We need to talk, but you can back up just a little bit. Personal space. So yesterday, I was dumbfounded and shocked to hear that Charlie Kirk was shot. And my first reaction whenever I found out, I was like, oh God, that's crazy. And at first, I did have a little bit of, oh, he got what he deserved sort of energy. But then I saw the actual video. Holy Christ. And then he died hours later. I hate Charlie Kirk, to be clear. I hate him with everything that I have. People like him don't deserve to die, especially if they haven't, from my knowledge, done any crimes, even if they advocate for crime, like Charlie Kirk has, versus someone like Donald Trump or the head of the insurance company stuff where the good-looking guy shot and killed him, and like everybody on Twitter and whatnot, and everybody on the left was like glazing him. Trump and that guy, those are criminals. It's much more of an argument to say they deserve death because they've caused death or have caused so much trauma that like death isn't illogical, as well as the fact that Trump is also old. And whenever Trump was like rumored to die like a week or two ago, I know everybody on the internet was going crazy, including me. It was gonna be from old age symptoms rather than getting shot. But the difference with Charlie Kirk is I at least am unaware if he's done any actual crimes, if he's actually sexually assaulted anyone. But the fact that he has a family, the fact it was so graphic and public and so sudden, and what the ramifications means of that. Because the ramifications of Donald Trump dying, we know because yet we'll celebrate that his authoritarianism would be gone because he wouldn't be in office, but then we would have to deal with JD Vance, which is debatably worse. And then the head of the insurance stuff, I can't remember it, so I hope you get what I'm talking about. There wasn't really any repercussions besides the dude getting arrested and people glazing the dude, which is, in my opinion, fair, because like that guy was like evil. Like he didn't just talk evil, he did evil. Charlie Kirk just talked evil, from what I'm aware of. But Charlie Kirk getting shot and killed, I have very little empathy for because of what he advocates for and what he's brainwashed people into believing. But he's just a propagandist. He's not a politician. He's not a business owner of a big business that runs the economy that millions of people rely on. He was just a propagandist. I'm a huge Hassan fan. He's simply Hassan, but on the right. And he's more popular than Hassan because the right it's easier for them to manufacture popularity, which is a whole other subject. If it were up to me, Charlie Kirk wouldn't have died. That's bad. That's wrong. Especially since, as far as I'm aware, he's not a criminal. Only really criminals that do heinous crimes, especially over and over again, like a pedophile assaulting children over and over again. People like that, much more sympathy towards the people that think those type of people deserve to die. And largely I agree with that sentiment. But from what I'm aware of, Charlie Kirk isn't that. He talked the talk, but I don't know if he walked the walk sort of situation. Which doesn't justify anything, but makes it a little harder to lack any empathy. I don't have a lot of empathy, but I have a small amount, enough to understand that it's not about Charlie Kirk. This is a dangerous precedent set that we can just go out and kill protesters and propagandists. And not that we can, but that people that, whether, no matter what they're advocating for, if they're like Charlie Kirk, even if they're conservative or leftist, doesn't matter. The fact is that they're a propagandist and are trying to spread a message. Those people are in danger. I don't want to see those people like Hassan get shot and killed. Like Asmongold is another propagandist right-winger. I don't want to see him shot and killed. But another propagandist right-winger, Destiny, which I was confused for a minute because I was thinking of the video game, he's actually done crimes. He was caught up in a case where he was trying to get sexual CSAM, child sexual material, which is awful. And if he died, I would have no sympathy because he was trying to assault a minor. From what I'm aware of, Charlie Kirk only talked about assaulting minors. He never really assaulted a minor from my understanding. So if he did and it was talked about a lot in the news, I would be like, okay, yeah, this dude had it coming way more than he actually did before I knew this information. But the empathy aside, it's a dangerous precedent. And it's a great example of why gun violence is such an issue, because there was also a school shooting as well where 2 people died. Charlie Kirk advocated for the Second Amendment and allowing people to get guns if they want, which broadly, sure, but you can't broaden guns. You have to be, that's a very nuanced subject. And the nuance of guns is you need to make it difficult to get them. You don't want people that would use them irresponsibly, like someone did yesterday, by committing 2 school shootings in separate areas, but killing Charlie Kirk and 2 other people. Not 2 other people at the Charlie Kirk thing, but there were 2 events. There were 2 school shootings. 2 people died at one. Charlie Kirk died at the other in Utah. Charlie Kirk wouldn't have died if we had better gun policies. If it was harder to get a gun, Charlie Kirk wouldn't have got shot in the neck and bled out and died, which is an outcome I'd rather have, because I didn't want to see or hear that Charlie Kirk died, him specifically. I want to hear him getting his ass chewed out and absolutely dogged in a debate, and from that debate get deplatformed, lose his audience, and only have the hardcore stands still around, like Destiny. If you go into that drama, the only people that still mess with Destiny, the one that is being accused of and has proven to be trying to get CSAM child sexual material, which is bad. Destiny has lost his audience, his broad audience. Only his stands still fight for him, which is still enough for there to be a loud minority. But that's what that's what needed to happen to Charlie Kirk, is him to be deplatformed and not have as much power. Not killed. Getting power taken away doesn't equal death. Getting power taken away just makes it where nobody really hears what you have to say, which is better, because in Charlie Kirk's case, because he was spreading really bad values. But that's all I'm aware of that he was about, is values and policies. No one should be killed about their policies. People definitely should get deplatformed depending on their policies and beliefs. But deplatforming isn't a death sentence. You can still support yourself without a platform. We need better gun control. guns is what killed Charlie Kirk yesterday, because I work night shifts and it's the night after Charlie Kirk died. I have very little empathy because of what he advocated for. But I can at least understand that it's wrong to make fun of his death, because that ignores the reality that we need to fight against gun violence. If gun violence would have been solved or at least fought against, and there were policies out there making it harder to get guns 5 years ago or whenever before this happened, Charlie Kirk would still be alive. And maybe, God hope, if there's a multiverse and that happened where Charlie Kirk is still alive and in some other universe, that he's still alive and just gets deplatformed. Deplatforming someone that hasn't done crimes but advocates for bad policies and has harmful opinions. Deplatforming is better than death. No one deserves death. The only people that deserve death are repeat criminals that have no empathy and obviously don't care about what they're doing. And I mean genuine criminals, not people that constantly like smuggle weed or smuggle drugs, unless if you're like a big boss man like the cartel or something, like on some Walter White shit. But if you're just like some average dude just selling drugs to live, you don't deserve to die. There's levels to it. But the things where there's no levels to it is like pedophilia and murder and being a serial killer. People that are those people, especially if they constantly repeat their offenses, yeah, there's a very valid argument that they deserve to die. But that's different. It's impossible to empathize with a pedophile and with a serial killer, with a rapist, especially a repeat offender. But from my knowledge, Charlie Kirk, and I believe I would have heard it by now, has never been convicted for any of those things. So he's never done any of those things that I'm aware of. Just because he talks the talk doesn't mean he should be shot when he can't walk the walk. No one should be shot for that. I have family drama going on about my political opinions, and I'm scared they're gonna shoot me. That's not how it should be. That's not how the world works. That's not what our children deserve to grow up in. It's not about mental health. It's about gun reform and gun policies. I don't pray for Charlie, but I do hope his spouse and his children are at least better people in terms of what they believe in. And if they are better people, even slightly, then I hope they are doing okay. But no one deserves, even if you're a bad kid, you don't deserve to see your dad die. And those kids have to live and grow up with the fact that their father was recorded bleeding out because he hosted an event in Utah at a school. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting situation that was completely avoidable, at least preventable. It could have still happened if there were gun policies, but it would have been way less likely. The point of laws isn't to get rid of crime, but to suppress it and make it as difficult to do and as rare as possible. That's the point of laws. It's not to get rid of crime. You will never fully get rid of crime. There will always be someone that wants to do something bad, even if it's just one person in the entirety of the United States. That's still one person, and there's always going to be one person. But the point of laws and stuff like gun reform and gun policies is to make it from 100 people to one person. We want as little people committing crimes. And if you can make it through laws, through policies, and through supporting the community to lessen that number, it should get done, but it's not. And we need to fight for it. We need to look at what happened to Charlie Kirk and learn from it. Charlie Kirk's death is now part of history for forever, and it will be talked about. We need to learn from history and stop fucking repeating it. I'm a socialist, and my entire policies are based on empathy. I have very little of it, but I still have empathy for what Charlie Kirk has suffered. And I only have empathy through that because no one deserves to die like that. Nobody. Not in such a public way, not in such a gruesome way, and not in such an intense way. Because even the aforementioned criminals I mentioned that is very much more understanding why you would want them to die. You wouldn't do what they did in medieval times and behead them in the middle of the street. No, you would jail them or give them the death penalty, which happens privately. Charlie Kirk didn't deserve that. I'm not a supporter of his, but no one deserves to die, especially the way he went. It's graphic and honestly disgusting. And we need to avoid this happening again to any political propagandist. Ever. We need to prevent that from ever happening again. Especially with the next generation coming up, such as I myself, because if this doesn't get solved before I start running for things, I could die. And that's a serious, not fear of mine, but something that worries me and something that I'm aware of. Something I'll accept, but it would be nice if I could prevent that. And it's completely preventable from policy. Stand up against gun violence. You don't need to be empathetic towards Charlie Kirk, but you surely have to look at it for what it is. Violent and wrong, no matter who you are. Don't make fun of it. Take that, see how bad of a situation it was, and be like, hey, this dude was on your side toward the right-leaning people. This dude was on your side and advocated for what got him killed. We don't want that happening to anyone else, especially more of your own people. So we can work this out. It can be worked out. We don't want anyone else dying like that. And it's completely preventable.